Hello? I think we're live. My mic is on. Here's the webcam. Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Joanie from the Yoga Chapel, and this is our space in St. Mary's. And we're so happy that you can join us for our morning movement class. And that could entail a lot of things. Just twist to get the digestive system moving. Could be in like a nice slow flow, a mixture of animal flow and yoga, functional movement. So it's kind of like something to awaken the body, like a cup of coffee. Nothing is as good as a cup of coffee, not even yoga, for me anyways. So it's kind of like your yoga after your cup of coffee. We are going to, it's 8 o'clock. So we do these classes live. So we have this little moment that we kind of just like touch base and say hi. So if you're watching in the future, that's what we're just waiting for that time to kind of roll in. Let's start in a wide-legged child's pose. Let's rest the brain, take the knees wide. Let's let the toes come together and come forward onto the forehead. And you can kind of drop one shoulder and then the other to kind of open up the back, the shoulders. And notice the heaviness of the forehead onto the floor or stacked fist, connecting to your body and your breath. I'll always give you a few moments to kind of get into your space and awaken your consciousness to movement. Sometimes that's the struggle, is that we need to kind of drop in, tell the body that we are committed to the next hour for movement and breath for ourselves. It's not a selfish thing, it's a self-care thing, so that we can move through the rest of our day with some mindfulness and ease. If you're falling into that ujjayi or that yogic breath, the awareness of your inhales, expansion, exhales, contraction, or your breath in and your breath out. And we start to monitor our breath. We start to notice it and subtle little changes. And this might even be your moment of stillness in your day. It only takes a few moments to connect. So let's be here for another minute. I want you to visualize or count the breath of your inhales at 3 or 5. And your exhale is a little longer. So if you're doing a 3 count, make it a 5 count exhale. If it's a 5 count, can you make it a 7 or 9 count exhale? And for the next 5 or so breaths, notice how the belly expands and contracts. And slightly moving the pelvis subtly. So on the inhale, the pelvis kind of tucks in, belly drops down. And on the exhale, the belly kind of pulls up and the pelvis tucks up or flips up. And it's tiny, tiny, subtle movement. But as we tune deeper in, you might start to notice that movement by just breath as a diaphragm and the lungs work together.
Let's plant through the hands. So you lift the elbows, but the palms spread wide, meaning that the fingertips pull away from each other as far as they can. Once you have that grip on the floor, even grip through the fingertips, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. So it's a kind of a glide of the shoulder blades onto the spine, onto the ribs. Tucking the pelvis deep in towards the body, so rounding through the back body. Pushing the hands down, gliding the shoulder blades back. Let's look forward. Come into a tabletop position. Hands come towards the knees close in, tops of the feet unwind. Take a breath in as you drop the belly, open the chest. So there's kind of using the breath. An exhale, we'll kind of tuck the pelvis in, tuck the chin in, round through the upper back. Breath in. Breath out. Coming back through center. Bring the knees together. You're going to cross the right knee behind the left knee. Pull the heels further apart. So you're trying to be on the top of the feet, and the heels are trying to be in line with each other, or working towards being in line with each other. Bring the hands a little further forward. Take a breath in, roll forward. Exhale and roll back. And it's the back that we're looking for. Eventually, as we move through class, we'll try to come into kind of a cow face position with their legs, keeping the left knee down. Take that inhale, come forward, just to that point where the knee wants to lift in the back. And exhale, push the hips back. And you'll be limited for sure as we begin this practice. So there's no forcing anything. Pointing the toes, pushing that left knee down, hips further back. And let's do one more glide forward. The glide forward feels weird, but try to keep the left and the right knee down. And on the exhale, drive through the heels of the hands to pull the hips back. And there's even a slight tuck of the pelvis. Maybe get a little bit lower with the face to the ground. Good, let's come forward. Let's unwind the right knee. Come back to a tabletop position. Lengthen the right leg. Drop the right heel towards the floor. Like you want to touch the back of the ground and you're going to just pulse. So it's kind of a calf pulse. There's a meridian line through the calf that kind of relates to our lungs, which is kind of cool. And so we're kind of awakening our breath at the same time awakening our body. Okay, let's bring the hands right underneath the shoulders so the wrists are in line. Let's point the right toe. That'll help float the right leg up. And really exaggerate the chest as you lift the leg a little higher. So don't worry about it being in line. See if you can drop the right hip though in line with the left. Push through the left shin. Point and extend through the right leg. Look down at the ground, drop the right knee down. And so the knees are close together, so you can take the left knee behind the right. Pull the heels as far away from each other as you can. So they're working to be in a straighter line. Both knees are down, and let's roll that forward just till that left knee wants to lift or pop. Exhale, push back. Maybe the hands walk a little further. And we pull the heels back. And one side might be very different from the other, so just notice whether there's some stickiness or resistance. Let's do two more. Breath in. Exhale, back. We'll hold that back. And there's that last one. Keep pushing through the top of that left foot. Inhale. Exhale, let's drive the hips back. Keep pushing through the right knee. That's where you'll get a little bit of a stretch to the outside of that right hip, right thigh. See if the chest and the face can get a little lower to the ground. And then we'll come forward. Unwind the legs first. Bring the wrists underneath the shoulders so there's that tabletop position. Lengthen the left leg and kind of pedal it out. So we're trying to pump the calf. It's kind of a nice, you'll feel that nice stretch through the middle or the belly of that calf. And it relates to the lungs. So we have these lines that kind of relate to the rest of our body. And so keeping that pump. And then we'll come through center, point the toe, that will start to float the leg and really exaggerate the chest. This time you'll notice my left hip wanting to drop down. Let it drop down. So you're kind of in this cow position with the body. Breath in. Breath out. And let's lower the knee down. Come into a version of cat-cow. Breath in. So there's the cow position, opening the throat, opening the face. Exhale, cat, as you dome into the upper back, tuck the chin. Okay, and then turn over the toes. Pull the hips back towards the heels. Let's hover the knees like we're coming into a wide beast shape. So the knees are just hovering. Toes get to stretch. So do the balls and the bottoms of the feet. Take the knees wide, thinking about loaded beast position. So the knees hover, hips pull back. Let's pull into this wide arm beast position. Pull the hips up or push through the toes, downward facing dog. And let's take the feet wide. So it's always a really nice way to start is bending the knees, noticing the spine first. So that flick of the pelvis up. Letting the head kind of drop as the shoulders roll away from the ears. And then the breath might be a bit compromised because the head is now lower than the heart. And this might be where you want to kind of hang out with your breath. So look to the feet. You're going to walk the hands towards the back of the mat, so towards the feet. Turn the toes 45 degrees. Let the hips drop down into Malasana, into your deep squat, using the arms to pry open the legs. And really let the bum relax towards the floor. And stand the fingertips. Lift the hips, turn the toes forward, walk the hands forward all the way into a high plank position. Now you're extending through the back of the legs. Pull belly up and towards spine. Not losing the palms, you want them wide or those fingertips wide. And let's float the right. So you'll point the right toes, let the right leg float. Without arching the back, lift the right heel in line with the hip. Breath in. Exhale, knee towards the chest. Let's drop the right shin down. Lengthen the back leg. Open through into swan, letting the left hip come forward, right hip back. Drop the right hip down. Deer position. Switch to deer on the other side. Come right into a high plank facing the back of the mat. Spread through the legs, shoulder heads out of the ears. Spread through the toes. Point the left toes so the left toes lift. Heel in line with the hip the best you can. Breath in. Exhale, knee towards chest. Lower the left shin down. Right knee down. Swan, heel closer towards the groin as you open. Right hip forward, left hip back. Drop onto the left hip into deer, and we'll switch to do one more side. As you move into deer, you drop the fingertips forward towards the front. Step back into high plank. Take an inhale to lift the right leg up. Exhale to bring the knee towards the chest. Lower the shin, lower the left knee down. Inhale, open the chest, swan. Exhale fully. Drop the right hip down. Switch deer. Plant the hands, back of the mat, plank. Take a breath in, lift the left. Exhale, pull the knee in. Drop the shin. Exhale, open the chest, swan. Inhale first. Exhale, drop the hips into deer. And let's just flip right into a bear position, opening the inside of the legs, rolling the toes down, shoulders away from the ears. So just like Malasana, bear is the same kind of position. So if I was in Malasana, I'm allowing my arms to push my range of motion. And in bear, the same thing, except I'm like grounded. It might be a little bit easier to maintain. And then notice the chest. Pull the chest apart just as much as you're pulling the pelvis and the legs apart.
There's action through the arms and the biceps. One breath in without losing your breath in the depth. And exhale fully out. Good. Let's release the arms. Take the knees back into deer to help draw you into a downward facing dog. Let's use downward dog just to start to come forward as you tiptoe, keeping the heels of the hands the best you can. Maybe you're coming to the middle of the mat. Maybe you're tenting the fingertips, stepping towards the hands. Inhale, half back. Exhale, full, let the body unwind. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, look up. Exhale, hands to the center line of the chest. Bowing gently to the body. Good. Let's interlock the hands, pushing the hands forward. We'll use breath. So inhale, extend. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift the arms up, but keep looking forward, biceps by the ears. Exhale, sweep the hands behind the back, interlock the hands. Inhale, open the chest, pull the hands away. Now look up. Exhale, bring the hands towards the bum towards the hands, look forward. So we'll find that rhythm. Interlock the hands. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, look up. Bring the arms up. Exhale, sweep behind the back. Inhale, open the chest, look up. Exhale, hands towards the bum, look forward. Release, interlock, breath in. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sweep behind the back. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, look forward, hands towards the bum. Bring the arms beside the body. Let's cross the right leg over the left. So the toes stay in line. You're just crossing the legs. Lift the right arm up. Use the left hand with the right wrist. Take a breath in to reach up as high as you can with the right arm. Exhale, up and over. And that might help open the right side of the body. Push deeper through the right foot. Don't worry about the left arm. Use the left hand to find that extension through the armpit. Keep drawing the right hip away from the ribs. Breath in. Breath out. Slowly come all the way up. Dropping the hands to the hips. You're going to bend the left knee so you come right into Gardasana, legs keeping the toes down. Tuck the pelvis towards the floor so the bum pushes towards the ground. Let's lift the arms out so palms face up. Wrap the right elbow underneath the left. Crisscross the arms, so bend at the elbow crease. Tops of the hands push together or wrap, turning the wrist forward. Elbows in line. Let's unwind the hands towards the hips. You're going to lift the right knee up. Take the hands behind the back of the right hamstring and let the leg be heavy in the arms. Good. Let's slowly drop the right foot towards the ground. Cross the left over the right. So try to make the toes in line the best they can, right? So the legs are kind of crossed. Trying to keep the legs as long as they can. Good. Sweep the left arm up using the right hand around the left wrist as you come up and over. So you use the left foot to help push the hip away from you. So the left foot is pushing the left hip away and using the right hand to help stretch through the left armpit. Slowly come back to center, dropping the hands to the hips. Bend the right knee so the left thigh is already stacked. The toes stay down to help pull the pelvis towards the floor, long low back. Open up the arms, open up the palms. Take the left arm underneath the right, so you crisscross the arms, bend the elbows, tops of the hands pull together, or wrap through the wrists, wrap through the hands. Now really drop the left thigh into the right and the bottom arm into the top arm. Unwind the hands to the hips. As you slowly straighten the right leg, lift the left knee, hands underneath the left thigh. Bring all the weight into the hands to open through the chest. Good. Let's drop the left foot down, feet hip-width distance apart. Take a breath in to roll that out. So shoulders roll up, look up towards the thumbs. Exhale, soft knees hinge into your forward fold. Tuck the chin. Inhale, push against the shins, long low back. Exhale, plank position, stepping back. And so this time, pedaling out both or massaging through the calf and both. So you're going to roll into the tips of the toes and roll the heels back. So trying to stretch through the calves, trying to turn on that meridian of the back posterior of the body. Okay. Let's come forward onto the tips of the toes to lower the knees. See if you can lower chest and chin at the same time to the ground. Take the feet wide. Tent the fingertips beside your mat. Pull the elbows away from you as you slightly lift the chest. So it doesn't have to be a full open. Connect to the pubic bones or tilt or tuck the pelvis in. Lengthen through the legs, kneecaps lift, tops of the feet push down. So a lot of action in the lower part of the body. Use that as a lever to open up the chest. So you keep extending through. Start to straighten the arms as much as you need. Open through the chest into a passive cobra position. Breath in and breath out. So slowly lower one rib at a time. You're going to close off the legs so the big toes come to touch the best you can. And that just means that there might not be enough space, but the legs are coming together. Fingertips roll beside the chest. Roll the shoulder heads back, look to the floor. Now the lever is still the legs. You're going to make it a bit more active by lifting the palms off the floor into your cobra position. So you might notice you're limited into how much you can lift the chest. Breath in, find a lift. Exhale, plant through the hands, roll through the knees. Downward facing dog. Good. Toes together. And take the right leg behind the left leg. Kind of just what we've been doing, crossing the legs, seeing if the heels have a bit more space to come down towards the floor. Let's drop the knees down. So keeping the cross-legged position. You're going to pull the toes away from each other. So remember we were here before. Let's walk the fingertips back, maybe allowing the bum to drop down behind you so the knees stay stacked. As you settle into your cow face position, dropping the hands towards the heels. Push through the fingertips to come forward onto the knees. Unwind the legs. Downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward, high plank. Exhale, lower the knees. Lower chest and chin all the way to the ground. Feet wide, fingertips tented. Tuck the pubic bone, power through the legs. Inhale, passively open the chest, look forward. Lower through the ribs. Bring the legs together, hands in line with the chest. Once you find the legs and kneecaps lifted, lift the hands to hover. Hug the shoulder blades closer together. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Bring the elbows tighter together, looking to the floor. Try to stay lifted through the chest and lower ribs. Plant through the hands. Downward facing dog as you roll through the knees. Toes together. Take the left behind the right. See if the heels can drop down a little lower. Stretching through the back of those calves. Massaging through the feet.
And then looking forward, as you drop the knees down, pull the toes away from each other so the heels in line. Remember, this might be exactly where you need to be. Just notice where your knees are in space. Now the right knee is going to lift as you drop the bum down and back, moving maybe the left heel a little further away from you, and pause. Whew. One side might be very different from the other. So see if both hips can settle to the ground. And just move with breath into that tight position. Okay, let's roll forward, tent the fingertips so that the right knee drops down. Unwind the legs to find tabletop. Tabletop takes you to downward facing dog. Okay, breath in and breath out. Toes together. Tiptoe slowly towards the top of the mat. So as you're high onto the toes, you might be able to keep the heels of the hands down as you come to the hands. Feet hip width distance apart. Inhale, half back, push against the shins. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, let the head hang heavy. Inhale, sweep all the way up, look up. Exhale, hands to the center line of the chest. Look down. Second set. Feet hip width distance apart. Let's take the right leg behind the left leg. Find the toes together. Sorry, let's start with the left leg. So the left behind the right, toes together. Sweep the right arm up, grabbing the right wrist. Breath in, exhale up and over. So you might have more depth as you find more opening through the back of the legs. Really pop the hip to find the space between rib and hips. Right, slowly come through center. Drop the hands onto the hips. Bend the standing leg as you come into Gardasana leg. So the legs are crossed over. Point the toe or tuck the toe behind the calf, but the knees stay forward. So a tendency is the knees turn to the left. You gotta pull the knees towards the center or drop those toes down. Notice that the chest is pulling forward. We need the chest to move back into a straight line. So you have this tight grip. Take the arms out. Drop the right leg into the left leg. Right elbow underneath the left, crisscross the arms, find Gardasana arms. Keep the legs, lift the arms up, lift the right knee up as you straighten the left leg. Now hold here, start to kick the right leg forward. Try to pull the belly in. Breath in, breath out. Take the hands behind the back of the right hamstring, flex through the right toes, stretch through the chest. Ooh, feels good. Let's drop the right foot down. Let's come right into that other side. Feet hip width distance apart. Take the left leg behind the right leg. Find the toes as close together in line as you can. Straighten the legs, left hip forward. Lift the left arm up. Grab the left wrist. Breath in. Exhale up and over. Good. Slowly come back to center. Hands rest onto the hips. As you bend into the left leg, you're going to lift the right toes, maybe tuck behind the calf, right? So a tendency is the knees will start to pop out. Let's do the same leg. Shit. What? I think I did the wrong side. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, where you're going to meet for Gardasana on the other side is we need to find the left leg on top of the right leg. Damn. So the knees are not pulling to the right, they pull to center, arms out. Remember, the toes can drop down. It's like that video. Did I do the left side? Where am I? Ah, live happens. Okay. Shoot. And let's take the left arm underneath the right, so twist tie the arms, elbows in line with shoulders. So you're driving the bottom leg into the top leg and the bottom arm into the top arm.
Keep the legs, unwind the arms, biceps is close towards the ears. Let's lift the left knee as you straighten the right leg. Kick the left heel forward, point the toe. Breath in, lift a little higher. Exhale, take the hands behind the back of the left leg, extend through the left heel, flex the foot. Drop the left foot towards the ground. Let's sweep the arms all the way up, find that flow. Exhale, hinge elbows forward, hips back. Inhale, half back. Exhale, plant the hands to step into your high plank position. Inhale, roll forward through the tips of the toes. Exhale, lower through chaturanga all the way to the ground. Feet mat with distance, fingertips outside the mat. Engage the legs as you lift. Pubic bone kind of balances the body as you maybe straighten the arms a little bit more. Breath in. Exhale, roll one rib at a time as you come down. Draw the legs together so that baby toe also finds the ground, fingertips in line with the chest. Drive through the hands first to find the shoulders, kneecaps lifted, and then lift the hands. So we activate their child's pose, or cobra. Try not to drop the chest. Keep that space between the ribs and the hips. Plaster down, sticker down. Plant through the hands, roll through the knees, downward facing dog. Take the toes together. Right leg comes behind the left leg. Bend the knees to drop the knees down. So the right leg is behind the left. Turn the toes out. Pull the hips back into cow face legs. Adjust the heels. Knees are stacking. Try to find the hips and the sit bones connected towards the floor. This time, take the arms out. We're going to find Gardasana, arms rather than the arms behind us. We'll get there. So if you're holding cow face, and if this is becoming really challenging, you're going to keep the left leg on top. You're unwinding the bottom leg and working to stack the knees in this pose. So this is a variation. I'll hold cow face legs, left hip down. Take the arms out, staying with the same leg that's on top. That's going to come underneath the bottom, crisscrossing the arms, either pulling the tops of the hands and the forearms together or interlocking the hands, elbows in line with the shoulders. Now notice if you're collapsing towards the chest. Lift the elbows up, pull the heels of the hands or the sides of the blades of the hands forward. Keeping the legs as you have them. Let's unwind the arms, making thumbs up. So making fist, thumbs up with the hands. Turn the thumbs down. Pull the hands behind the back so that the knuckles are going to push together, but don't rest on the body. So showing just the arm position, you're going to push the fists together, thumbs up, but don't rest on the body, keeping that pretty active as that stretch. Shoulders stay in line. Whew. Shoulder heads drop down. Pelvis slightly tucks forward. And then rest the fists onto the hands. Let the shoulders and the elbows kind of round forward as you tuck the chin. Good. Let's sweep the arms all the way up to look up. Exhale, hands to the center line of the chest. Okay, so wherever you are, you're going to unwind the legs to come to downward facing dog. You can also unwind coming forward through the knees, tabletop, downward facing dog. So let's meet there together and give you some time. Let's try that other side. So toes together, bring the left leg behind the right, bend the knees so that the left leg is behind the right knee, and start to pull back to sit onto your cow face legs on the other side. And so this side is a little bit trickier for me. The left hip and the left sit bone is That heel's way back there. So it would be better for me to extend the left leg, which I'm going to do. And so that I have my sit bones connected, I'm working to stack the knees and open up the right side. Same with the right side with the arm. I'm going to take my Gardasana arms, take the elbows underneath, pull the forearms together, or interlock my wrists. I'm not passive with the left leg. The heel pushes down, flexing through the toes. Slowly unwind the arms forward, thumbs face up, making those fists, turning the thumbs down. Let's sweep behind the back, pushing those fingers or those fists together. Thumbs still face towards the shoulders. Elbows and the shoulder heads roll back as you dome into the belly. Take a breath in, lift the thumbs a little higher. Exhale, rest in the body, let the chin relax, the shoulder blades, the collarbones. And let's unwind the arms, take a breath in to reach up. Exhale, hands to the center line of the chest. And then move through how you want to unwind to downward facing dog. Maybe come back through cow face, unwind into tabletop, and then downward facing dog meeting together. Let's inhale, roll forward to high plank position. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, roll into the tips of the toes. Move through chaturanga all the way down towards the ground. Feet mat width distance apart. Tent the fingertips, been here before. Tuck the pelvis to start to open, lengthen the chest. And maybe the arms have that full length of the body, range of the body. Let's take a breath. Exhale, slowly lower belly, then the ribs, and then the chest, and then the forehead down. Bring the arms beside the body. Close the legs. Palms face down. Squeeze the fingers together and roll the shoulder heads up and back like you're reaching towards the heels. You're anchored through the tops of the feet. Kneecaps lift. Lift the forehead to come off the ground. So baby birds, stimulating the back of the arms, lift the hands, and let's flutter the arms for 30. And you're just fluttering the arms little. Keep squeezing the fingertips together. That's 20. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the arms into cactus position beside the body. Keep squeezing the fingertips together. Keep the legs in a long position. Keep the chest lifted as you pull the hands into a Y. Drop into the chest slightly. Keep the fingertips engaged. Breath in. Exhale back into cactus. 3 more. Breath in. Y. Exhale, cactus. 1 more. Breath in. Breath out. Plant the hands. Roll through the knees. Come into a tight child's pose. So if you need a little bit more space, taking the knees wide. If you can keep the knees and the heels together, dropping the forehead down. Resting the belly onto the legs. Relaxing back into the breath. Okay, let's come forward back into our downward facing dog. We're going to do that 2 more times. So stimulating the back of the shoulders. I'm trying to open up your shoulders into cow face, and we'll get there. Let's take an inhale, roll forward into high plank.
Exhale, lower through chaturanga or drop to the knees as you come all the way down towards the floor. Feet hip width or mat width distance apart, tent the fingertips. Find the pubic bone pushing down, the same with the tops of the feet as you open and breathe through the back body. Breath in. Start to bend the elbows as you pull the chest forward. So you want the chest to come down last, and then the forehead to come all the way down. To bring the legs together, the arms beside the body, squeeze the fingertips. So don't lose that action. Reach towards the heels. Good. Space between the ribs and the hips is where we're going to lift from. So lifting through the chest, lift the hands, anchor through the tops of the feet, and flutter the arms. And just keep fluttering, trying to find those pulses. And there's 20. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the arms into cactus. Keep squeezing the fingertips together. Keep the biceps engaged. Breath in. Exhale into a Y. Try not to dip the chest. Inhale, cactus. Exhale, Y. One more. Breath in. Exhale, Y. Okay. Keep the legs. Take the arms behind the back. Interlock the hands. Open through the chest as you draw the hands towards the heels to open the chest. Open the collarbones. Lift the hands a little further away from the bum. Now lift the right leg as high as you can so the thigh comes off the ground. Exhale, lower the right leg softly down. Once it touches down, lift the left, right from the hip. See if the leg can lift straight up. Hands pull towards the heel. Breath in. Exhale, lower the left leg down. Let's tent the fingertips beside the body. Roll the weight through the chest, lifting the back legs. Maybe lifting the thighs, open through the chest, point through the toes. Breath in. Breath out. Let's drop the legs down, push through the hands, roll through the knees. Child's pose, either knees together or knees wide. So you're tucking the pelvis to the opposite expression in the back body. All right, let's slowly come into that tabletop. We're going to do one more set. But while we're here, let's take a cat-cow if anything happened into the low back. Breath in. Exhale, really tuck the pelvis in, tuck the chin, and hold. So this is the opposite of all those supine stretches in the back body. Take an inhale, open the chest. Exhale, tuck that back in. To roll through the toes, pull the hips back, downward dog. Full stretch of the heels. Think about the calves, which we've been trying to open. Now the shoulders, so we can come into full cow face. One more set of baby birds. Let's come forward, high plank position. Exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Take the feet wide, tent the fingertips. Pull the pelvis forward, open through the chest. Breath in. And breath out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slowly roll all the way down. Bend the elbows, drop the chest, drop the forehead, bring the legs and the arms beside the body. Squeeze the fingertips together. Anchor through the tops of the feet, lift through the chest, lift the hands, and start to flutter the arms. Good. So think you're pulsing, and in my mind, I'm counting to that 30. There's 20. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the arms into cactus, so don't lose it yet. Breath in. Exhale into a Y, keep the chest lifted. Pull the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades into cactus. Exhale into Y. Inhale into cactus. Stay for the exhale. Take the hands behind the back.
Open through the chest. So here's a very passive position because you're using the arms to help open and lift the chest rather than active, or we got to do it ourselves. Let's lift the left leg right from the hip. Exhale, lower the left leg. Keep tucking the pelvis forward. Inhale, lift the right. Exhale, lower the right. Keep the arms right where they are. Come forward with the chest. Lift both legs like you want to reach through the heels. Breath in. Breath out. Lower through the legs. Plant through the hands. Wide-legged child's pose. So let this one fully kind of come off the body. Whew. Tuck through the pelvis. Lengthen through the low back and find some space. And even if you need to rock back and forth. Let's take another minute. If you like to pull the knees a little closer together to find the hips towards the heels, I find that that helps a lot more and keeps the core activated. So I'm shortening the front of my body, but I also get a lot more open through the back body. Okay, let's slowly come forward. We're going to come into cow face slightly different. So let's drop the knees from here and taking the legs out wide, pull the flesh of the bum back. Just for a moment, reconnect back to the body and the breath. And draw the legs together. Starting with the right leg, you're going to bring the right heel as close towards the left hip as you can, stacking the knees. Remember, we did that variation with the leg extended, so you can hold there. Or you can lean into the left, start to bring the left heel towards the right. And you might need to shift around as you come into that side, dropping the right hip down. So when we start to move into the version, the heels start to come in line more straight, which is crazy, but it is where the body can go, which is awesome. Heels closer towards you will make this pose a little bit easier in this bound position. So know where you're moving into your variation. Try to find the sit bones down. So that might mean the leg is extended to find that. And that's okay. Sometimes we got to back off, and that's fine. Now finding the arms, okay? We're not using a strap, we'll use our shirt. And for men who don't have their shirt on, maybe your shirt's around you or something's around you that you can hold. But you also don't need to do that. So showing you from the back way, so we have our legs, we're tuning into our breath, knowing where our mobility and our range of motion is, and allowing just that to settle. So the hands onto the hips, letting the right hip fall so that there's even stretch through both sides. So it's my right arms, because the right leg's on top, the right arm's going to come up, drop towards the shoulder blades. Use the left hand to tuck the left elbow closer behind the head, pushing to the inside of the arm to help open up the throat and the face. Now try to leave that there, so you might need to grip your shirt or grip your sports bra or whatever you got. Take the left arm, drop it, make thumb, so the fist and the thumb sweeps behind your back by bending the elbows, and try to reach towards the fingertips or grab the shirt in some way if you can. Now this side, I have a little bit more space, so I can grab and interlock my fingertips. Just like the knees are kind of stacked together and pulling my elbows to try to be in a line. This is very tricky with my shoulders, for sure. Find breaths in, breaths out. Now maybe you don't even have that grip. Maybe you're way lower and you're just holding your shirt and pulling your shirt apart, keeping the head kind of pushing against the back of that arm. Maybe the arm is a little out. Remember, these are all your range of motions. We're trying to close that space. Let's take another breath in and a long breath out. Now don't lose it quite yet. We're going to come into a forward fold. Now this will intensify everything. So the chest is coming forward without rounding the back. See if you can get a little closer to the thighs. Push the knees together to help lift the body back up. Exhale, unwind the arms first. Take the arms out. Open through the chest. Exhale, bring the hands towards the center line of the chest. Keeping the bind just for a moment as you bow gently towards your body. Maybe this is a bit easier to find that drop. Maybe you want to find the fingertips down. Maybe you want to find the fingertips forward. Walking the fingertips back towards the body. Let's unwind the legs back into a wide-legged seated position. Oh, moving the flesh of the bone back. And that feels nice to get some blood flow back into the joints. And so really what cow face and Gardasana or eagle does is lock off the joint so that the blood flow knows to get back there. And you can find this rush of letting that come back. Okay, let's bring the legs together so we can find the opposite side. So the left heel towards the right hip, stacking the knee, lean to the side, maybe tucking. Yeah, so that this side is a lot more space, so that the knees kind of come together and the left hip drops down. And just know kind of where it's kind of awkward for your brain because you're trying to move one thing and it's like on the other side. Okay, so finding your position and then settling down, letting the hands rest onto the knees or the hips. Stake the arms out. Bring the right hand onto the hip. Lift the left arm all the way up so you can tuck the left elbow underneath the back of the skull or where that range of motion is. It might be here, and this might be where you hold your cow face. You can even come into a forward fold from that position. If you're tucking behind the skull, the hand rests between the shoulder blades, right? Try to hold and maintain that as you keep a long and open throat. Take the left thumb back behind you so you're sweeping towards the shoulder blades. Now this side is much trickier for me. I'm going to grip onto my shirt and try to hug the elbows towards the center line of my spine. Trying to keep the chest in line with the knee, and same with the jaw. And then letting the knees kind of come forward. So you're hinging from the hips into that forward fold. You're almost pushing the back into the hand into the back to keep the spine long without popping the hips. So when the hips start to lift, kind of come as the depth of your forward fold. And slowly come all the way up. Let's unwind the arms, taking the palms out, opening through the chest. And don't lose the leg yet. Even if you have the leg extended, you can come forward. So showing you from that perspective, even though the leg is extended, you can come into that forward fold. Letting the chest come towards the thigh instead of rounding through the back. Open the chin towards the toes or chin past the knees if you have cow face legs. And then slowly come all the way up. Let's unbind the legs together. Ooh, that feels nice. Taking the hips or the flesh of the bum back to settle through the sit bones, resting the hands onto the thighs to drop the chin, drop the shoulders. Coming into a downward facing dog. I promise that we're coming into that Shavasana right now. As we come into downward facing dog, you'll like this. Open up the arms. Let's come high onto the toes. Sweep the right leg up. Drop the right heel towards the hip and open up that right hip, letting the right leg kind of weigh like a sack of potatoes over to the left. Oh, don't worry about alignment. Don't worry if you're opening up the right armpit. And then roll that back down. Drop the right toes so you can lift the left heel, lift the left knee higher. Let the left foot open up. Good, and then slowly come back. Downward dog. Hop, step, walk towards a seated position. Rolling onto the back body. Digging the feet wide. Let's lift the hips towards the right, knees towards the left, into your deer twist, looking towards the right arm. Head back to center. It's bringing the knees back to center. Lift the hips and taking the hips towards the right, dropping the hips to the left, looking to the left. And let's move back to center. We have that nice 3 minutes left of that Shavasana. So taking your pose here, if you need, the knees touching, the lower back lifted, or full extension through the legs. Now we've done a lot of supine work on our back. So if the lower back is compromised at all, the nicest thing is kind of keeping the knees together, maybe even the hands under the back, so the back has something to rest against. Bring the left hand to the heart, right hand to the belly for a breath in. And a really nice sigh out. Roll to that left side to make your way all the way into a seated position. cross-legged. You might notice like half lotus or full lotus is way easier to take now after doing cow face, which is kind of fun. Bringing the hands to the center line of the chest to bow gently to your body. And I'm honored for your practice. So thank you for joining. Thank you for showing up. Hardest thing to do is to show up and to commit to your practice. So I honor you. I honor your breath and your heart, from mine to yours. Have an amazing rest of your week or your day to come. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Morning movement, moving into cow face. Remember, taking it as slowly as you can. Any knee issues, especially in a flex position when we're twisting, can be challenging. So do find your variation that works for you. But it's a nice one to open up the sides of those hips. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.